welcome to Studio Nicole. I'm Nicole and I'm so glad that you're here. I am very excited for this video today. I've been working on this Cascade journal for a couple of months, more than a couple of months, really. I've got lots of projects going on, so sometimes things get set aside and then it takes me a little while to get back to them. But this is really one of my favorite projects, and I loved working on it. And I'm really excited that it's finished, or like 99% finished. There's still one thing left that I'd like to do, but I don't really have the ability to finish it right this second. So it's as finished as it's going to get for the foreseeable future. So I'm excited to do a flip through today and let you come along with me. I am going to be running a Cascade journal workshop in a private Facebook group called Journaling Adventures, Creativity Through Journaling and Art. That's the name of it. I always feel like I'm going to get the subtitle and the title mixed up back and forth. So I wanted to make sure I got that right. I'll put a link in the description so that you can come along and follow along with me if you would like to make one of these from scratch. There is also a playlist of me working through all of these pages individually, but if you want to create with me, starting in April of 2026, so just about a week from now, we're going to be creating one of these. I'm going to choose a different color palette since I just worked with these yummy blues and pinks and purples. So I'm going to try and challenge myself to pick a color palette that I don't often use, but we'll be going through that process step by step in the upcoming month of April. So I would encourage you to join me over there if you'd like. It's going to be a lot of fun. Today we're going to flip through this one. So here we go. Are we ready? This is a magazine spine that we turned into a journal. So you can see that the pages get gradually longer as we move through the journal. And if we kind of hold it this way, the pages cascade down. And so that's why I call it a Cascade journal. So the theme for this was like self-care and self-affirmation, I guess. I will say that it took me a few pages to sort of land on a theme. So it's not super apparent here. This first page, it's such a narrow little strip of a page. There's not a whole lot going on. We have some gorgeous hearts on washi tape. We have some handwriting. We have some other washi tape. And then we have this cutout butterfly as a focal image. But I love the colors. The next page is more purple focused. And then we have some collage elements and lots of texture and lots of shape. The words on this page say other worlds, and this is maybe the one part of the entire journal that I would change, kind of going back to the beginning after I settled on a theme. I don't think this really fits super well. I could probably make it fit, but it's going to take a shoehorn and a lot of energy. So there's a possibility that I may at some point come back and change that. The next page, this is from a calendar page on the left and some stenciling on the right, and then some embossed stamping along the bottom, and the words good vibes on some washi tape, which I think is a nice starting point for a journal like this. Then we get into some blues with a little bit of pink highlights. We have some stenciled backgrounds, some collage. I have this cute little heart paper clip. You can see on this side is the other part of the paper clip. I have a stamped hummingbird. This is a watercolor, like a piece of collage fodder that I made. And then I have this gorgeous sequiny ribbon. The next page has some map paper on the left. So we have this yummy, yummy blue. It's not just matte paper though. There is some ink and some paint over across it to give it some depth and dimension. The words on this page, oh, sorry, let me watch out for that shadow. The words on the left-hand side of the page are "All of us are crazy." And when I did this page, I thought that it was interesting because we often call women crazy as maybe not a very nice term, or it's not seen as necessarily being a compliment. But the dots, the ellipses, kind of let us know that this is not the end of the sentiment. And if you follow this across the page onto this side, the rest of the words are good in one way or another. So the thing altogether, the page says all of us are crazy good in one way or another. But it's a little bit of a tease because at the beginning, we don't necessarily think it's going to be as positive as it ends up. So I like, I like an art journal page that kind of tells a story and takes you on a journey. And kind of maybe has a little surprise twist. So what I did was I just took a little stamped piece of book page. I've got some elements, added onto it. There's some gold ribbon and some gorgeous metallic tissue paper over music page in the background. So that's this spread. We start getting a little bit more space to work, as we work. These earlier pages are really, really just little strips. So this one, we've got some gold background and we have some iridescent pink tissue paper layered over top of it. I have a little hand stitched piece of book page with a heart punched out of it that kind of like lifts up on the page. So we have like some texture elements. On the right hand side, we've got this jelly print in the background, like a skeletonized leaf and some hand lettering that says "I am enough." And this is really where, this is the page where I finally really felt like the theme, like these two pages really is where I started to feel like the theme was starting to solidify. And I really love the idea of making a journal to sort of support ourselves, right? A little affirmation journal. So this is a jelly print on the left-hand side. I love the it's almost basic black, but there are some subtle stripes in it. The black background on the right, and then we've got this black detailing in the jelly print on the left that just ties the whole thing together. I love it. The words on the left-hand side of the page are "You know more than you think you do." I might do something more to embellish this. I kind of stuck it on here because I thought that it connected, but I didn't really, I just kind of like tapped it down with just like a tiny little bit of glue so that if I came back to it later, I could pull it off. And then at a later point, I was like, no, I want it to stay here. So I went ahead and finished gluing it down. But now I think it needs something to feel a little bit more finished. But I'm not going to keep going. I'm just, if something comes to me at some future point, maybe I will finish it. Like if there happens to be something laying on my desk and I go, oh, look, that's perfect. But I'm not going to come back to it. It's okay. It is okay. For things to be a little bit imperfect and a little bit unfinished. I'm just going to embrace it. I love the right-hand side. I've got this little piece of scrap drywall tape in the background, a couple of collage pieces. They're just like scraps with some stamping on them. I have this watercolored flower and the words "Trust Yourself." So it's just a pretty simple page, but I love it. This page really, really shows off the gold edge as well. I did do gold embossing along every edge of every page, which I think really turned out nicely. And it really shows up well against the black background of this one. This page was a little busy. I had this beautiful print that I used in the background, but the words were getting lost a little bit. So I do have some white to sort of surround the words, and the words kind of like slide across the page and down the print. Are you kind to yourself is the question that we're asking. I have a little flip in the middle here. It's really just a sewn, it's like two pieces of paper with a heart cut out of the top one, and then you just sew it together. I do have some thread hanging off of it. On the back, I added a little bit of that same metallic paper from this page. I like to have similar elements show up throughout the journal so that it all feels cohesive. And then I added just a little bit of pink, either paint or ink, just to give it some color on the back. This is actually, this right-hand side is a piece of craft paper, and the blue paint is actually house paint. It's the color. This is the color of my bathroom. When I was painting the bathroom, I had like paint left over in the paint tray. And I love this color so much. It's just like a beautiful, almost a robin's egg blue, but just a little bit lighter. Anyway, I just love the color so much. I didn't want to let the paint go to waste. So I brought it into my studio and I slapped it on all kinds of things. So I have tons of like scrap paper with this color of paint all over it. We've got a slightly larger spread. They're getting larger as we go. I'm not sure that I love how this turned out. I put some tissue paper on this side that had these dots on it, and I don't know that I love it. I did use the same stamp to create these little plants that again sort of call to mind an earlier page. So we've got some connection. This is a piece of the jelly print background from this page, and I just liked this. These are constellations, I think, right? There's like Leo, and I don't know all the constellations. I don't know what I mean, I know what they are, but I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't know which one is which. So I don't want to say anything. I know Leo is the lion. That's the only one I can identify. I also have this little stamped butterfly on the top page, and I just have the middle part. That's a, what is that? Staple. Ha, that's the word. I have a little staple there, kind of where the body would be. It's hard to see, but the rest of this is not attached, so it's kind of dimensional on the page. It sort of sits out from the page a little bit. This is maybe not my favorite spread in the whole book, but not every single page has to be a standout. It works, it feels cohesive, it's got some really neat elements to it, and I'm going to just appreciate it for what it is. These colors are pretty nice. I do like, we've got these really deep, like a deep pinkish reddish color happening here. This is a beautiful printable on the background on the right hand side with some messy handwriting in white. Then I've got some Dina Wakley tape going down the center spine here. I have some wonky stars that I watercolored and cut out, and just a little collage cluster in the background to pull some of the other colors in on the page. This little card said rise by lifting others, and so I just attached it in as a flip, and I put a little bit of the sequin ribbon on the top as like a tab to turn it, and then this tiny little collage here. So I have one piece of stamped paper with a heart punched out of it, and then I have another piece of stamped paper in different colors behind it. It just gives it just that little bit of Tactile interactivity makes me happy. So this page is very pale compared to the rest of them, but it is also very interactive. This, I did put this whole thing in like this, and then I ended up gluing this side down to make a little pocket. I've got this alcohol ink experiment where I was just playing around with the colors, and I cut out a heart. I added a little bit of eyelash ribbon through a hole punch, and I tuck it into that little pocket there, and now we have Remarkable Woman, right? That's what the words say, Remarkable Woman, because we all need to tell ourselves how remarkable we are. This paper, if you have been watching my series, you will have heard me tell this story 1,000 times. I will continue to tell it another 1,000 times probably, because it is my favorite wrapping paper ever. It's for my niece's baby shower. I mean, my sister's baby shower when she was pregnant with my niece many, many years ago, and I held on to it. So I use it sparingly, but it is absolutely gorgeous. And there's a whole page of it at the end. We'll talk about that again in a minute. Behind the little flap, I just have a collage cluster, some different elements out of my scrap bin. I don't know what I was thinking. My brain and my mouth sometimes do not coordinate. I have an embossed words in the background. It says, "Today I will." And this was a callback to the Oracle deck that I was working on at the time. I had done some embossing on tissue paper, and so I just attached a little scrap of that tissue paper onto this page. And I wrote down some affirmations, some things that I want to do. Believe in myself, trust that my decisions are sound, do what makes me happy. Those are just a few of the things that I can kind of read in the background right now. And then I've got these little die cut hearts. I love how it brings the blue from this side of the page just across over here. And that little collage cluster just hides right away behind that little flap. Almost there. We've got this page with a jelly print in the background. There's some stenciling on here, just layering colors and stencils. And then I drew this like a little leaf shape with Stabilo, and then outlined it with probably some gesso around the outside to make the color a little bit more contrasting. So I've got that on the left. I didn't do a lot of embellishment there. The right, actually the left was just stenciled book page. The right, I think, was a jelly print. This pink pattern was made with some big bubble wrap that I had put some pink paint on and bubble wrapped it down onto the book page. And more of that blue from my bathroom. And then this was a piece of like fiber paper that I glued down, and some stamping from my little clip together stamps that look like this right there. So that's what that is. And the stamps are not perfect, and I kind of like it. I think that it gives it a very, DIY look. This is the last page, the one that I just completed. On the left-hand side, we have a jelly print in the background. I added in just this little flap here, a collage cluster. This is the tape, like the tape that I made in a recent video where I was using tiny, tiny little scraps, these tiny little strips of paper for my Oracle deck, and I just put them down onto like receipt tape and glued them down. So I tore a piece of that off because I thought the color palette fit this page really well. And then I have just some other collaged bits, some of this gorgeous, I love metallic elements, so I included some of this gorgeous fiber on here. And this is a die cut of a leaf. I cut out a couple of different ones and kind of experimented to see what I liked better. And I like this light blue. It pulls over some of the blue from this page because we have this really really vibrant blue here, and then we have kind of a really pale blue here. And so I think that that does a nice job of pulling those pages together. In the background behind the flap, I just have some words of affirmation, just individual words that we wanted to, I wanted to sort of provide an intention for myself. These are things that I want for myself, things I want to cultivate in my life and in myself. So I brought those in. I think that's a nice way to end the book. On the right hand side, I did punch a hole and put this little bit of ribbon so that there would be just a little bit of tactile interactivity, because I love it when you want to put your fingers on the page, right? I love it when it makes you want to reach out and, get into it. But this paper was so gorgeous. I just wanted to leave it alone. I didn't want to cover it up with anything. I wanted to just celebrate it. And I thought that a fun way to do that would be to include this little, this page intentionally left blank disclosure at the bottom of this page, like they do in legal documents. I thought it was cute. And I also thought that it kind of is a good reminder to us to give ourselves some blank space within our lives, right? We do have a tendency, I know I certainly tend to overschedule myself. And sometimes we need just a little bit of empty space where we can just exist, just breathe and rest a little bit. I do have a plan for the back of the book. I want to add some of this gorgeous, again with the metallics, right? I want to add some of this gorgeous fabric to the back and do some stitching, but my sewing machine is not currently working. So that is a project for another day. And in the meantime, I'm going to just appreciate this collaged background. These are little paper strips that have all been dyed and painted. This is a whole process. I could probably do a whole separate video on this. I have lots of these pages like this. And the spine, to support the spine, because this is really just a magazine held together with staples, I do have some washi tape along the spine to help keep it from, coming apart. I use the washi tape throughout as well, so you'll see it periodically in various places throughout the book. So as I said, I like to use repeating elements so that all of the pages feel like they are part of a collection. They all connect together. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Cascade journal. I love this journal. I love how it turned out. I want to make many, many more of them. And I'm really excited to make another one in April in the private Facebook group called, I always get it wrong. I really can't wait to make another one in April in the private Facebook group, Journaling Adventures, Creativity Through Journaling and Art. Again, the link will be in the description box. Feel free to join the group so that you can follow along with us and make one. I'm going to go with a completely different color palette and a different theme, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I would love to have you join me. So thanks so much for coming along with me, guys. I hope you have a great night. Like and subscribe if you are interested in seeing more of what I'm doing, and I'll see you in the next video.